Hello everyone, this is Dani. For those who don't know me, my name is Dani Oliver. I live in Cambridge and I have been a Mo for 5 years. I am a Movember ambassador this year, and I am here to talk to you about the Movember initiative and what it stands for. And the mission of Movember, and I'm summarizing it very quickly, is to change the face of men's health. The first and most important cause, well, it's not really the most important, but the very reason it started existing is prostate cancer. Prostate cancer is a big problem. Believe it or not, it is something that affects 1 in 8 men of all, of the whole world population during their lifetime. And this is something that makes essentially an average of almost 10 million people per year to be living with the disease. Technically, the cancer that kills more men is prostate cancer. And something that we need to do is prevent earlier. You know, we men are normally less inclined to do our checks. We are very, men will be men, very macho style, and we are always fine. And even if we feel fine, why would we even bother going to the doctor? On that aspect, women have learned a lot, and they are really way ahead of us. And like I said, early detection is key, and awareness is even more important. Any man that is around 50 should start considering yearly revisions about their prostate, because there is a very big chance that, in terms of percentage, that you will develop the disease. That is even more if you have some kind of a precedent in your family, or if you are part of certain racial background like Caribbean. I would definitely recommend that you start discussing with your GP or your family, or talk about it, about cases of cancer. I can now speak about a personal experience, and it's the fact that my family, both on my mother's side and my parents and my father's side, they have lots of different types of cancer. I am unfortunately aware that I'm very likely to win the lottery of cancer in any form. And I have a great uncle who is a survivor of prostate cancer. Unfortunately, not all the cases in my family have had that luck, and I have gone through a lot of grief and loss that I don't really want to talk a lot about in detail at the moment, because I would get really emotional. This very year I lost someone very important, and that's why I'm doing this. It's if I can even help save one single life, this will be worth it. Probably you don't know, but if you do your checks on time, the chances of survival will be 98%. So it's very, very likely, almost sure, that you will survive prostate cancer if you do your checkups regularly. So that is why it's key. However, what is really striking about prostate cancer, if you don't get detected early, the chances of survival will drop to 26%, which is a massive drop. So this is my personal ask to anyone watching this video. Please take this very seriously, because it could save your life. I would like to show you a video of Movember about one of the people that survived, and I would really like you to have a look.
David, to me, is somebody who's full of life, who loves life, makes a contribution to the world. When you see somebody like that, who are facing a tough diagnosis, you really want to help them extend their life and make sure that they have the best quality of life possible.
My diagnosis came about very peculiarly. I took a pain in my back, and after 2 days I decided it was time to go and see my local GP. She said to me, "Well, I'm sorry to have to tell you, you have aggressive prostate cancer. It has spread to your bones, and it has spread to your lymph nodes." And I just at that time went completely numb. I thought, how am I going to survive this?
David, just over a year and a half ago, he came to my clinic with really quite a bad prostate cancer. One of the highest PSAs I've ever seen, I know he was devastated by the diagnosis, but we were delighted to take on his case. The Centres of Excellence is a program of scientific endeavour and clinical trial endeavour, and we're really trying to develop new ways to help men with advanced prostate cancer. We approached David about the idea of this clinical trial, and it's called ADRAD, and it's a trial for men with prostate cancer which is already spread at the time of diagnosis. After they finish their chemotherapy, they then move on to try 2 types of ionizing radiation at the same time. Radiation to the prostate gland and pelvis using high-tech external radiotherapy, and then using a drug called radium-223, which is an injected form of radiation. It's a bone-seeking missile. The combination of those 2 types of radiation in men with advanced prostate cancer is something we've been testing here for the last 2 years.
If I hadn't joined the program, there's no way in this wide world I would be sitting talking to you today. The bone cancer that has gone from my spine, more or less, that really blows my mind away.
It's been a great pleasure to watch him go through that trial and actually respond very well and get back to a pretty normal life.
Someone said to me the other day, have you been on holidays? I said, no, I haven't. She said, well, you look really good. I said, well, I feel really good. I have a couple of friends, and once a month we meet up for a Saturday breakfast. I have a good quality of life.
I think the most important thing is actually the hope that this brings. Because if you're given a diagnosis which tells you you're not going to live as long as you thought, you're devastated by this news. What clinical trials can bring is the hope of something better, but also the hope that taking part in the research will help the next man 5 years from now faced with the same dilemma in his life.
If through the treatments which I've had, if other people can get help, like I've got help, then that's what I long for. I long to even be an inspiration to people.
Okay, so you have seen the story of David. When I watched this the first time, when I did my training in London, I was genuinely moved, and it actually resonated in my heart about my personal experience. So this is what Movember does. The money goes to financing a lot of different trials, experiments, awareness, choices for people that don't know what to do. In David's case, his cancer is spread through his spine, and he thought that he was done for, but he wasn't. And right, I'm going to move on now to testicular cancer. Why testicular cancer on top of prostate cancer? This is the odd cancer that people don't even perceive as a threat, and it's because there is a lot of unknowns about it and misinformation. What is the problem? It's essentially a disease for young men, and that is a problem in itself, because the target audience for people that are more likely to develop testicular cancer are very young people. And as a result, the interesting thing is that testicular cancer is not even perceived as a health problem. The truth is that if we talk about the UK, that is 69% of the population. So we're talking about big numbers here. The way to prevent, or how we can detect early, is very simple, which is essentially checking our nuts. Once a month, you only need to have a simple shower, a warm shower. Just check your nuts and make sure that you don't detect anything abnormal, anything that hurts, anything that can be essentially not feeling good. And just like that, just check it with your GP, just take it from there. The next topic is equally important. It's no longer about cancer, but it's definitely one of the biggest problems that we have in men's health in the modern world for many reasons, which is mental health and suicide prevention. Again, this is one of the very reasons I am a big advocate of Movember. When it comes to mental health, there is not only a big problem in terms of education, but also a massive stigma attached. So when we get our education, we get a lot of education about physical health and even sexual health nowadays. But mental health is still one of the big topics that are not covered. And that, of course, is also associated to social behaviors, depending on the country, and also the fact that men are supposed to be men. And as you probably know, men don't cry, men don't talk about these things, and men are not supposed, historically, to look vulnerable or to show any kind of, weakness. And that is a massive problem in general. So if we talk about figures, statistically, 3 out of 4 people of all the people that commit suicide in the world are men. That is already a 75 against 25%, and that is big numbers. And the main reason that men die in general in the world between the age 15 and 29 is suicide. I had a friend, Alex. He was my good friend, and he suffered from mental health pretty much since he was a teenager. And we spent a lot of time together when we were kids playing video games. And he was a good friend. Life separated us when we went to high school and we became adults. But from time to time we did catch up. And I was aware that he had problems, but probably I did not pay that much attention. And he did commit suicide in 2007. And I'm sorry, it's hard to talk about it still, because I always wonder whether I could have done more. Maybe I couldn't have. And I wasn't as close to him as I was when I was a child, but that really was an eye-opener for me. We need to talk about suicide. It should not be a taboo, and it's definitely present in our life, in everyday situation. Conversations can save lives, so it doesn't hurt at all to talk about suicide, about mental health to your friends. It doesn't hurt to ask, are you okay? And again, I'm going to talk about figures. It's very interesting when you think about, would I listen to someone, or would I be there for someone if someone asked me if I can count on him? Can I count on you for help? I know I could, but do they know? Because there is a big difference. The gap is 70% of the people that know that, they are self-aware that they would be willing to listen and help, but the people that need help don't know it that much. It's 70% against 48. So it's very simple. Just keep telling your friends that you would be willing to be there if needed be. Very simple. There is an acronym that is used in Movember, which is ALEC. ALEC stands for A, ask the question, are you okay? L for listen. Listen with no judgment whatsoever, because everybody is going through something. And I have good news or bad news for you. We all have mental health issues to many degrees. It affects everything we do in our lives, and all of us, without exception, is going to suffer a mental health crisis. The E stands for encourage action. If you see that someone is not okay, just talk and tell them, go to your GP, go to counseling. And the last one is the C, which is check in. Don't just do it once, just check in from time to time. This goes to the other side of my conversation, which is not just the story of my friend committing suicide, but my own mental health problems. I have suffered mental health problems to many degrees during all my life, and I thought, because of the unawareness and the stigma that is attached to it, that was not okay. And it is okay. I am a functional person, I am productive, I can lead a normal life, and from time to time I just need to lie down, take it easy, and have my downtime and ask for help. It's absolutely fine. That doesn't make me worse or better. I'm not crazy. In fact, I actually distrust people that define themselves as sane. There is no such thing. Things are not black and white, and you should always remember that. The Movember initiative is about raising awareness. It's not just about the donations. Talking about it is equally important, and that's why I have this stash at the moment, because people ask me, and I can talk about mental health, I can talk about cancer, I can talk about suicide prevention. That's as simple. Just grow a mo, and if people ask you, say why you do it and keep talking about it. The next thing you need to do is to move more. Just be aware about your physical health, because that is proven to be attached to your mental health as well and to your general conditions overall. And I need to learn a little bit about that myself. And the next one is hosting an event. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be small. Just do things like what I'm doing right now, which is exposing yourself and talk about it. That's all you need. And if you can donate, that's important. But if you can talk, it's equally important, if not more. Just to finish this talk, and I hope it's not being too long, I would like to talk about the Movember goals for 2030. The goals for Movember is to reduce 50% of deaths in prostate and testicular cancer. It's also about reducing 25% the rate of male suicide, which is very ambitious, but it is doable. And the next one is reducing in 50% the number of men stressing from mental health issues. I'm pretty sure that with everyone's help, anyone watching this video, anyone in the world, raising the awareness, talking about it, donating money for the right treatments, we can make it happen. That does not exclude the girls, the Mo sisters. You may not be able to grow a Mo, but you are equally important. And if you love us men, because we are not all that bad, I'm pretty sure you can raise the same level of awareness. You have a voice and we need you as well. So what now? I'd like you to remember, just as a summary, the 5 key points of men's health. The first one is to know your nuts. Know thy nuts. Just check your nuts for your potential testicular cancer. Know the numbers. So just know that you need to check when you're 50 or 45. Know, if you can, about the figures that we talked about of cancer and suicide and mental health issues. Talk more, because it's okay to talk about it. There is no stigma whatsoever, and there is no need to hide the fact that we all go through issues. That's fine. Get moving, take care of your physical health, and last but not least, stay connected and check in with everyone about these issues. Last but not least, I'd really like you to, again, if you can, if you would be so kind, to donate for my cause. I have a very ambitious objective, but I'm so committed to reach a specific figure. My company is going to be kind enough to double and match the money that I make. So if you could make a small donation, I would be very thankful. With that in mind, I only need to say thank you so much.